All right, welcome back. This is MDog. We're now taking a look at Amber Lake. So this is our hotspots for November here at Amber Lake 2023. I'm not gonna treat this as much like a video for new players since to get to Amber Lake does require level 26, it looks like. So you could still be relatively new to the game, but you have certainly figured a lot of things out by the time you're fishing here at Amber. And excitingly enough, we're going to be starting off here in the pond. I don't know, it's probably at the end of this dock, right? 4133? Yeah. So let's see. It's really interesting. They're kind of aiming, man, that is a very strange angle. Let me check a couple of these. So here recently, there's been a couple of different posts about 4133. Some folks are fishing at, I'm going to do something like this. We're not going to completely sell out. Some people are doing a 20 clip. Some people are doing a 15 clip. So we're actually going to do a little bit of variety here. And then I will show you, did not mean to cast that much strength. Then I'll show you what we're actually fishing with. So let's see, we did 20 on that one. Let's go 18. Perfect. And then let's go 19. So a little bit of variety. I will say this, not that we're like focused on new players, but it is always really nice when the pond is active, even a little bit active, for new players, because the fish can't get out of the pond, or don't get out of the pond. I guess technically they could swim through there, which it's interesting because one of the older spots that we used to always fish from was right there off that little peg. And so the fish would always swim away from you, but they would just hit the shore. So even if you're just getting to Amber as a first time experience and don't have the full gear, maybe, you're trying to make it work with a little bit lower power in your gear, the pond allows you to do that. So we'll see how active it is. The baits I'm using may be a fairly slow bite rate, but people have been catching trophies here. So if you want to actually go for bite rate, just, as usual, a little bit smaller boilies. The smaller the particles and boilies and stuff that you're fishing with, the more likely you are to get a good bite rate. So let's see, are we using monoline? We are. Okay, so here's what we're fishing with. We'll see if this works. It's a combination of estuary and black currant. Now, I will say one of the things that makes me think that we could have a little slower bite rate is we're doing double 20 size boilies. I'd be really curious to really play around with this spot, using 15 or 16 size boilies, see what the bite rate's like, using pellets instead of double boilies, and just kind of see what, if anything, that does to the bite rate. But that's the first rod. The second rod, we're using this, and the third rod is the same as the second rod. So large one hooks, and the only thing that's different here from the last one I showed you is the brand of black currant. This is Mad Myers instead of Old Pal. So let's quickly look here at the PVA. So if you want to see the PVA I'm using, again, we don't even know if it's working yet, but in case it does work, this is the PVA. And while we're waiting for bites, I'm actually going to continue to study the reports from Amber over the last couple weeks. so that I can decide where we're going to go next. As soon as I saw that the pond was active, I just decided like, hey, let's start at the pond because the pond is so close to base, it's convenient, and if you're a newer player or have lower level gear, this is a safe way to ease into carp fishing at Amber. All right, let me see what else is out here though. One thing I did notice was it looks like it's pretty active out at the Oak, which is 168.80. Oh, I can't remember if I can eyeball it. It might be here. I think it's G8. No, sorry. This is at the Rock. The Oak is actually way over here. It's going to be J7, right? There's a big tree there. That's why we call it the Oak. The Rock is this spot here. So anyway, both of those two spots are usually really good spots. And it looks like the Oak, not the Rock, over there at J7 is popping off a little bit. That's always a fun thing. And people are catching some nice fish. And they're catching it on corn, which means it's probably a really nice bite rate. So that might be worth looking at. No bites yet. But again, if we want to have a fast bite rate, we need to change our baits. What we're doing right now is really sitting on trophies or large carp with the type of baits we have in. But it's, it's interesting. This is not something that I often do in the pond. So I wanted to see, like, is it actually going to work at all? So let me see what else we've had reported lately. I always like it when 6494 is popping off a little bit. I am seeing a lot of people using kind of the Esterberry blackcurrant baits, which that's interesting. Again, more spots. It does look like a ton of people talking about the pond. So it does look like we could take these same baits though and go to 6494. 6494 was the very first place I ever fished. It's down here. I think it's on the western side of D7, somewhere around there. You always recognize it when you see it, but that's the very first place I fished at Amber, so it's always fun to go back there. Maybe that's what we do next, but I don't know. 132, 147 is a good spot to show off because of the small clip. It's a good place to fish if you want to telestick for carp. Again, corn usually works out there, usually fast bite rate. You can tell people are trying a lot of things. If I go back, even just the past week, there's so many different posts from Amber. And that's the thing about Amber compared to the first two videos I did with this new sort of series was for Mosquito and Winding Rivulet. In those maps, like, you almost don't have enough information because not that many people are fishing. But if you come to a place like Amber, whatever the most recent map is, in this case it's Norway. What else? What other maps fall into this category? Sometimes Old Berg kind of does, but not always. I mean, used to Archie did, but I feel like with Norway that even Archie's not getting as much love as it used to. But anyway, there's always a handful of really popular maps that you just almost have overload of information. But at least recent data here, as what's this, like towards the end of November, a lot of the reports have been about either this spot, 6494, or a couple other like random places. It doesn't look like, though some rare carp have been caught, it doesn't look like there's any huge influx of rare carp. Sometimes Amber and rare carp have these moments where it's just like going off. If we look at fish on Amber, the barbel and then all of the carp you would expect. I mean, that's pretty much what you're targeting. All of these weird looking ones are the rares, which you may catch one every once in a while, but you're definitely, the lion's share of the carp you're going to catch are going to be the commons, the frames, the leathers, linears sometimes, the mirrors for sure, And then every once in a while you'll see a grass carp, but grass carp aren't as common here as they are on some of the earlier maps like Old Berg. You see a lot of grass carp at Old Berg and Bear. Now I'm just sort of like, how long can we go without catching a fish? So I definitely don't recommend doing this. If you get to a spot that you've heard is working and it takes this long to get a bite, then either change your approach or move on. Let me see how active like 6494 they're reporting it to be. 30 to 35 clip. I mean, it looks like it's a little more active than this. I mean, a lot of people are using these same baits. And some people are using the 1/0 hooks, so the little bit larger hooks as well. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we go try 6494. I can just tell we're gonna have to be patient. But that's amber for you. That's carp fishing too. It takes a little bit of time to get dialed in to figure out what's going on. I'm definitely thinking about changing to a smaller bait or something here soon. I wonder if we should. I think 6494, and then maybe we just for a few minutes go test out the oak over there with corn. If nothing else, just to kind of show what fishing with corn looks like. This doesn't make sense though, does it? All right, so if we were going to switch one, what would we switch? Like part of me just wants to try to catch something here. Maybe go to the smaller boilies, just see if we can get something, just to see if they're still active at all. Let's see. Let's go with Estaberry 14 and Black Currant. It should be 15, right? Yeah, 15. All right, so I will, while we're here, I'll just go show you where there's like 3 or 4 spots here in the pond that are frequently do well. It's funny how my green screen acts differently at night than it does during the day. Yeah, so it actually needs to go the other direction. Is that better? Yeah, but then we start getting... It's just not great. It's fine. We'll just deal with it. We're not going to start down that path of the never-ending search for the perfect green screen setting. All right, so here's our normal spot, or not normal. This is the, I would say this is the spot that I fished the most here in the pond. And you kind of want to aim like right there at that light, which is towards the middle basically. Or you can aim at this light, either one of those two. I'd say you're kind of in the same area. 20-meter clip, that is often a really good way to approach the pond. But here recently, this long dock has been the spot of choice here in November. So that's why we are starting out here, but we are now staring down the reality of an overnight session that frankly we probably don't want to sit here all night and not get a bite. So let me go ahead and which one is that? What would be cool if it's one of the bigger boilie setups and not the smaller one I just put in, but we'll see. Oh, it is the smaller one. Not a surprise. Not a surprise. And like I said, this is what you got to do. I mean, if you really want to fish this spot and you're not getting bites using the 20s, then switch to a smaller size. And, you know, the next thing to test might be to do 120 and 115 or 20 and pellets instead of double 20s. But there is our first common carp, which we'll take it. We'll see if this helps. I don't know. Maybe a little bit, not a whole lot. What was I gonna do? Oh, I was gonna go look at the cafe just for fun and make sure we've got a four-wheeler lined up. So very unlucky when you don't have any carp on the lineup there. All right, red and yellow squid. That is what we will be using over by the oak. Do we want to go ahead and get our, I think we go ahead and get our vehicle because we'll be moving soon here. Still nothing on the first or second one, and not on the third either. So when we move spots, I'm actually going to try a snowman rig, which allows you to do, well, you can do sinking and pop-up boilie. What I'm actually wanting to do is sinking boilie and corn. and just try that. I think I'll do it with blackcurrant. All right. And then we'll keep this middle one the same, because I do want to see if 6494 maybe has a little better results with the big baits. So we'll see if we get one on that, and then we'll keep this one the same as well, just to try to get an active bite rate at 6494. So it looks like different reports have the normal clip at 6494 is 30. Some people are doing 35 out there. I think I'll just stick to 30 and have all three the same this time. So we're going to just ride around and go cast in at 6494. By the time the PVA settles and all that, it'll start to get a little later in the morning, and maybe we'll start getting some bites. Sorry about how slow that first spot was, but I didn't really do any testing before starting this, and so many of the reports are that spot in the pond. I'm sure it's been good, and maybe it's been more like I said, sort of people just sitting on trophies, which if that's the case, that's fine. You just have to be pretty patient. And a lot of them will come during those like 6 to 10 a.m. time periods. All right, so here we are at 6494, kind of down this way. And we're going to move these out to 30 meter clip. I like to often either go towards that log. Where's the other spot? I guess the other spot is the peg with the chair. But I feel like I more often at least have one, if not all of them, kind of in the direction of that log that's on the other shore. So again, for consistency here, since we have different baits already, let's put them all in the same spot and not confuse the issue on what's working and not working other than the different baits we're using. All right, so there we go. I suspect that this will be the last place we fish during the evening. So if I forget to pick up our lanterns, that is okay. All right. Just out of curiosity, let's see what some of these records are coming in on this week. Common carp. Oh, there's neutral and honey. Squid, crab and mussel, neutral and honey. Blackcurrant, Nordic estuary, which is what we've started with. Although look at the size. Talking about sitting on trophies. Blackcurrant 25. And then there's Cocos and Cream. Cocos and Cream, always a good option. Common ghost carp, looks like people are really hitting that neutral and honey, neutral and squid. Mostly neutral and honey though. Same thing here. So at some point this week, people have really gotten focused on the neutral and honey somewhere, and a lot of the records seem to have come out of that. What was that? No, it's just my imagination. So let me see. Let me see if I can figure out where those neutral and honeys are getting used at. And how far back it goes. It's got to be this week though, so I don't need to go past this week. I feel pretty certain that it'll be on here somewhere. I just got to find it. So, I mean, what looks like to me is that even if people were using neutral and honey early in the week, at some point, that looks like neutral and squid. What spot is that at? 64.94, so that's where we are. Uh-oh, getting a bite. Oh, it's off that third one again. Okay, here's neutral and squid again. Oh, no, these are squid. Mostly it's squid corn, but that's over at the oak spot. That's where we're headed next. All right, there's at least one line set up with neutral and honey, and that's at here, 64.94. So people are using neutral and honey here, it looks like. There's squid in the pond. So you kind of see whatever's working, people are going to try it at all the active spots. So the further I go back, you know, maybe like 4 days ago, I'm starting to see neutral and squid, neutral and honey showing up. And a lot of them are either here or like 83, 145, which if you fish at Amber a lot, you'll know that spot as well. 83, 145 is over here towards the first peg. So it's like E4 towards the first peg. Usually a 30-meter clip, but that's a, ooh, that's a healthy carp right here, by the way. All right, this is on the big baits, by the way, 2020. So this is going to be a reasonably good carp. So maybe 64.94 is a little healthier on these baits. It's a little faster bite rate than the pond was. Or maybe it's just the time of day. We didn't have to wait too long for a pretty decent carp over here. It's probably a common, although it could be a mirror. I mean, nighttime you have a slight uptake in mirror or mirror type carp. But there's been a lot of commons caught here at 64.94, so I would not be surprised if it was just a little bit of an early common. Yeah, that looks like a common, doesn't it? Oh, no, I'm wrong. That actually looks like a frame carp. Which means this is nowhere near trophy if it's a frame, right? It's been a while. Maybe I'm misremembering what size frame trophies come in at. I think that is a frame though, right? It's just, to be that size, it's too skinny. It's not a mirror. It's a healthy frame. Maybe like 18 kilos, something like that. I don't know. 22 kilos. Yeah, I think it's 25 on the frame trophy. That is a nice carp though, by the way. Very nice carp. And now all of the... Looks like we're getting some bites now. All right, this is the one we turned into Snowman. This is just a little common. I think based on what we just saw on the middle rod, we really quick want to switch this back to what we had it on. And we're going to wait out the rest of the evening. I'm sorry, the rest of the early morning at least here, and then maybe we'll go check out $64.94 briefly. The oak spot, whatever it is, briefly. All right, can we get a couple of small commons and one giant frame? Not bad. Look how quick we got a... Am I wrong? Is it 35 clip that's standard? Maybe it's 35. It's been a while, but am I really that confused on the clip? Everything I'm seeing is 35. It's another common. I'm still like getting used to these new common carp models. I think they do look good, but for whatever reason, I'm still getting used to them. I'm always still a little bit caught off guard when the old one doesn't come out of the water. Trying to find just to make sure that I'm not totally misremembering. All right, Java. Okay. I know people are going to ask me, what's that app you're running? I don't think the app exists anymore. This is an old version. It's no longer connected to its network, so I don't even know if you can still get it, so sorry about that. But I just wanted to look and see, because on all these old spots I'll have the clip we used to use. So like here at this spot or other spots, yeah, it does look like the most common clip is 35, so I'm just not remembering right. I was thinking it was 30, but clearly it is 35. Okay. I know I've put all the big baits in, which probably slows us down, but I just think it's okay between now and 8 a.m. when I'm planning on leaving this spot anyway. It increases our chance of getting another nice one, which just seemed like the fun way to go. So let's give it another few minutes before we go try out one more spot. And carp fishing definitely doesn't work as well with this style of video because I think overall you just do better when you let things, the PVA and stuff, soak for a while, get a spot going. It does take more time to kind of test things out, see what's working the best. And then also day to day, there could be some pretty big variance in a spot. So harder to just go out and do it. But we've at least seen some reasonable sized carp, especially this frame. And hopefully putting on the corn, we'll see a couple fish over at the Big Oak spot as well. Which I probably keep referring that as to 6494, which is incorrect. This is 6494. Big Oak is something like 168.80 or something like that. It seems like this one is the best bite rate, and this is the one that we have at 35 meters, where one or maybe both of the other ones are still at 30. So for what that's worth, this is another common carp, 4 kilo common carp. We are really crushing the 4 kilo common carp. All right, I think we're gonna call it there on this spot. If I don't call it and we just keep putting it off, we'll end up staying here for too long and then not have time to enjoy at least checking out the old Oak spot. So it's a little bit of a drive on the four-wheeler, but I wanted to show at least one spot with us fishing with corn. So this will be a double corn spot, and this is definitely a staple of amber. It's oftentimes the case that it is worth your time fishing with corn only to try to increase the bite rate, and you sometimes end up making the most silver finding that sweet spot between bite rate and then quality of fish. So let's go see what it's like over here. Hopefully we'll get there early enough in the day that we can still see a good glimpse of that. Can't believe I fell for that. I usually am on top of missing that stump. So, worth noting that the big rock spot that I was talking about, that is also a place where you can oftentimes catch really good fish, is going to be coming up on our left here. Is it here or is it a little further down? I think it's a little further down. Or I've already passed it, but I think it's not here. Here it is. It's right up here. This isn't where we're going to fish at, but I wanted to point it out because this is another staple. This is like another 35-meter clip spot, but so just kind of right out here, casting out here, is often another really good carp fishing spot. It has been a minute since I have fished on amber. It's part of why I wanted to do this map next, because it's just been a while and I love carp fishing, so it's a good excuse to get out here and at least fish a little bit. So you can either go to the Big Oak where we're going, or you can go fish off the end of this dock. It's really fishing a very similar spot. Both typically work well. We'll go over here to the Oak though. Should be 168.80. Yeah, here we are. We'll go just past it. We're actually going to be at 169.81. Let's get these at 35. And I'll keep mono. I don't actually think we're going to catch a huge fish, but all right. So now we got to switch these to pop up, and which means I kind of want to switch them to muggas, and we want to go to the double corn. Right? Yeah. All right, so then we're going to do squid. We're going to do red and yellow squid. And there is no squid dip. Oh yeah, there's squid and fish. Okay, we'll do that on one, and then we'll do the fish one on the other. I'm sure I have some squid PVA. Let's see what we've got. Squid for amber. Yeah, that looks great. Really, you don't necessarily need PVA. I mean, you don't have to use PVA on any of this, but amber does like PVA in most carp situations. But when you're fishing with corn, you can oftentimes get away with no PVA. All right, squid, squid, and let's go fish, crab and fish dip. And so with this one, I'm not going to put PVA on there. That's another like strat, is to mix PVA on some and not on the others. So we'll do 2 and 1. So we're going to go to classic pop-up. Make sure we have the right hook. We could do that, but no, we'll stay with, we're going to keep squid on all of them just to see what kind of bite rate we can get. And we'll do fish and squid on this one. Sorry, squid and fish on this one. So this is our second one with PVA. It's going to be a little short. That's okay though. Now, let's let the PVA soak for a minute and hope that we can get at least a reasonably good bite rate to show off a few more fish. let's see if, though it's not live yet, let's see if the Winding Rivulet video looks okay. All right, we can go up to 1080. Yeah, there we go. Looks like it turned out okay. Available in the store. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's a good point. When you look at trophies on a map, the trophy card at least, it doesn't show all the fish that you can catch there. Very good point. Okay, so we are once again, I mean, sometimes it's just like this, right? No matter where you fish at Amber, sometimes it's just slow. Slow day. If we stayed for the next day, it could be a great day. You just never know. But definitely seems like it's a little slow today for some reason. And as always, if you complain, you catch a fish. Is it still on there? I think so. Not bad, especially since we're fishing with corn. That is not a bad size. I believe this is going to be our first mirror carp of the day. Most definitely. Nice little size there. Huh. Why did I put red on there twice? I didn't do that on other ones, did I? Okay. Strange. Lots of red on this line. Of course, if it's a rare carp, I'm not going to change it. Oh, it's another mirror. Right? Very similar to the last one. 5.4, 5.6. Very cool. Suddenly we're catching some fish. Hopefully. Time flies at Amber. We have been recording this for 45 minutes. Wow. Try to be patient for one more fish. It is noon. This can be like entering into a slower part of the day, but a little warmer day. I mean, not unusual weather for Amber. I think 19, 20 is pretty typical. I'm actually a little interested in what Amber could be like on some of these cooler days. Overcast, rainy, could be good, who knows. Well, one of these lines I think has a fish on it. It's probably line 1 again. Let's see. Yep. Common. All right, we'll give it another minute or two and then we'll give up. Then we will retreat. This first line's going off. Catching most of our fish on this first line right now. The only difference is the middle line does have a different dip on there. But especially with these spots with the corn, I've never noticed that to really make too much of a difference. Small mirror. All right, so I think we should call it. Yeah. All right. Let me respawn real quick. Definitely an underwhelming amber fishing day, but based on the amount of activity there is on VK and some of the records that we saw on the weeklies, I would say overall it's been an okay couple of weeks at amber. I just have had a fairly unlucky session, but at least we got to check out some spots. We did get to catch a few fish. None of the orders changed, so we are out of luck on those, but let's see if we maybe 100 silver or so for fortunate. Yeah, 108. We'll take that. That frame sided is almost 50 of it. All right, very good. As always, thanks for watching. Tight lines, and I will see you next time. Where will we be next video? I have no idea. We're almost out of time here in the month of November. So technically, once it hits December, if I continue to do these, we can sort of reset and even come back to some of the same places. But the real question is, will I try to get one Norway session in during November? I would lean towards yes, but let's see. We'll wait and see. All right, catch you next time.